You said the same thing I told ya. My eyes are clear, there's no secret. I wanna know, was it serious? I need it clear, my best friend.
Hey guys, Grayson here with Untraveled. Now today is our last day here in San Pedro, Guatemala, and I want to give you guys a quick look into the local car culture here in Guatemala. Now it's very different from what we have back home, because back home if you were to blow an engine or total a car, it's usually scrapped and you go out and buy a new one. But because of the lack of supplies, they pretty much work with whatever they have. So you see some very creative methods into repairing and also reusing old vehicles. In Guatemala, locals have two main ways of transportation. You have a tuk-tuk and a chicken bus. Now chicken buses are very similar to shuttles where it's made for a long period of time, whereas a tuk-tuk is kind of like a taxi where you would take it to the store and back. They have those because gasoline prices are very expensive, and these tuk-tuks only take 3 liters of gas. So because tuk-tuks are very common and only have 3 wheels, all the speed bumps in San Pedro have been cut into 2, allowing the first wheel to drive through freely, saving on suspension and stress on the vehicle.
Isn't easy to show with the weight of the world on my shoulders. I know I told you it's the best ride I know. It's not a game that I am playing. My love, trying to hold my feet.
Now, for short periods of distance, tuk-tuks are great, but for the long hauls, they have what they call chicken buses, which are quite literally a school bus that has been pimped out. They call them chicken buses because, quite literally, people have chickens sitting on their laps. Now, for the most part, back home, if you're on a school bus, you have 2 people per seat. A chicken bus doesn't quite work that way. Usually you have 3 per seat and then 1 or 2 in the aisle. For a person like me that is 6'1", it is not the easiest form of transportation, but it is an experience nonetheless. The only way to get from town to town is by boat, because we have a massive lake in the middle that separates all the surrounding communities. So locals as well as tourists will hop on boats on a regular basis from morning till night to get from different towns.
I know you made it in the nick of time. I'm calling on you. I think we're made of something.
San Pedro is so beautiful because we're surrounded by volcanoes, one of which is actually right behind me, and it's called the Nose. It's called the Nose because it looks like a person looking straight up towards the sun, and the nose is the tip. Now we did a hike this morning, which we woke up around 3 a.m. and hiked to the top, so we were actually able to see the sunrise. Now by the time we did get to the top, the clouds did start rolling in, so we didn't get to see a clear sun. So by the time we got to the top, the clouds started rolling in and started blocking out the sun. It wasn't ideal, but we still got an amazing view of the town. So there are a few problems driving in San Pedro. To begin with, the streets are very narrow, so to have 2 big trucks drive through, it pretty much becomes a one-way street and somebody has to back up. Secondly, all the streets are handmade with cobblestones, so they're very bumpy, very uneven, and they will just absolutely destroy your suspension. So the 2 main repairs on vehicles you see happening quite often are brakes and suspension due to the steep hills. We have such a wide variety of motorcycles and different vehicles in Guatemala. It is absolutely fascinating. Walking down the street, to my surprise, I was actually able to find a first generation Honda Civic. Now this thing on the outside has seen better days. It has a little bit of bumps and scratches, but the interior is surprisingly clean. Now it only has 4 speeds, but the engine itself runs great. This car just demonstrates even more why I love San Pedro so much. You have such a wide variety of vehicles and you have no idea what you're going to see every single day. Thanks a lot for watching this short video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm very excited to bring you some new content as we head down south, and I guarantee you we're gonna find some crazy stuff. So stay tuned.
Back then they were just called pickup trucks, not Tacomas. It's pretty simple, standard transmission. It's got a 5-speed. It's got our own camper from 1971 called the Paco, made by Six Pack. Pretty simple. It's pretty old. We did a lot of work to it getting ready for this trip. A lot of time and stuff went into it, but it's pretty good to go now. It's got 2 beds, very simple kitchen, little 2-burner propane stove. We got a little sink that you just pump a handle, and a refrigerator that kind of works.